Hey there, welcome back, guys. I'm BlueRidgeSilverhound, also known as Sean. I'm sure a lot of you already knew that, but today in this video, we are going to address a viewer email that came in from Thomas J. Yeah, it's not that Thomas J. Even though Thomas J is on screen, I guarantee you guys, this is a different Thomas J. Either that, or he found himself a really interesting alias to go by. But Thomas J had emailed me and had asked, Blue Ridge, I really love your pocket change reports. How come you don't talk about proof coins, number one, and graded coins? All right, would love to hear what your thoughts are. Thank you, Thomas J. It's real simple. Okay, so you guys know pocket change market reports stem from raw, ungraded material. All right, so those are all coins that I've sold on eBay at some point or another, usually when I drop the videos. Generally, they're from the last 24 to 48 hours. Okay, real simple. And the real reason why, and we'll address the grading part of it at the onset here, but the reason why I don't talk about graded coins is, well, you have to send it off to PCGS and NGC to get them graded. Now, last time I checked, okay, obviously PCGS is like the premier grading service to use for grading in general. But if you look at their pricing for grading errors, it is very expensive. Not only do you have to pay the normal submission fee, however much that is, so depending on how quick you want the coin back, if you want other additional services, those all factor into the base cost of submitting just one coin. But if you wanted the error attribution, it's like $50, $60. That's including that initial submission fee. We'll just use $30 as an example for that. So let's say on the low end, it's $30 plus this $50 to submit one error coin. It better be freaking dynamite, that's for sure. That right off the bat, right off the top, is going to be $80 that you would have to invest in getting this thing authenticated. Hopefully, you're sending a true blue error of some sort, because, you know, in order to justify that high of a submission fee, along with the attribution fee, it has to be all worth it. And ultimately, what's going to be your motivation? Are you looking to just keep it? Because there are people that will justify the $80 to $100 to authenticate a coin just so they could preserve it in its natural state of preservation at that given time. Or, you know, you sell it. Okay, so obviously there's a lot of, you know, research that goes into selling things like, for example, this 1973 Jefferson Nickel here. Obviously, you gotta know how much it's worth. But the even better part about error coins in particular is that they sell themselves. You don't necessarily have to have the approval of a third-party grader in order to get the full market value for your coin. And we're going to use this 1973 S Jefferson Nickel on screen here as an example of that. All right, this one right here states rotated reverse error Jefferson Nickel gem proof coin lot, blah blah blah. So that's their I guess the seller's cataloging system for this one particular coin, based off of the feedback. This person has quite a few listings, so you do need some sort of cataloging in order to ensure that when you go to process the shipment and the paperwork and all that stuff, that this is going to be easy to find in your inventory. Furthermore, you know, this listing is fantastic. You know, a few things to keep in mind. Okay, $2.99 for shipping. I take it that's first class. It eventually got bid up to 16 bids for $50. That's a lot of money, because it's outside of what this error is. And this is going to blow your guys' mind once you see this. Outside of that, the coin is only worth about $1. You know, let's say you need to buy one of these at a local coin shop just so you could insert it into your Jefferson Nickel album, because there's proof coins on some of them. You would pay about $1. That's how much the open market is for just a base raw copy of a 1973 proof Jefferson Nickel. But in this particular case, I mean, it's got a rotated reverse error. All right, as we can see on this coin, you're going to see that the coin respective into its 2x2 cardboard holder is straight up and down. But also note the staples. There's one on the left and right side, and then one at the bottom, just above the scripted word there, rotated reverse. And there's no top staple. So when we go to flip this over, okay, you're going to see that one single staple that was at one point on the bottom of the coin on that front view image, and now it's on the top. All right, and this is going to help illustrate a rotated reverse. Now, take a look at the rotation. I mean, it's not a substantial error. Okay, I would say it's counterclockwise by about maybe at the most 20 degrees, which is quite minor. But this will give you guys some insight on what you can find in these proof set. And if we look at kind of like a loose definition of proof set, these are special strike coins that have been handled with a lot more care and detail compared to what we call business strike coinage. And that's the other part to Thomas's question. Why don't you talk about proof coins? Well, it's real simple. Because of the way that these things are crafted, they're pretty much white gloved at the moment that they are struck. They have to be to uphold the overall quality assurance of each and every single proof set. And they even did it all the way back in the 60s and 70s. They handled these with care. Aside from not truly keeping an eye out on the dies to ensure that they're all going to have cameo frost, which, as you guys know, during the 50s, 60s, and a few dates in the 70s, cameo frost was kind of a tough thing to spot. All right, there was probably less than maybe 1 or 2% of the entire run of proof coins during that 15-year range, excuse me, in which a lot of these coins did not exhibit that kind of frost. But because of the rarity of any sort of errors, because normally, again, these things were produced with such stringent quality controls that finding an error is kind of tough. Now, this is a very minor error in retrospect, but given how apparent it is on this particular listing, and it's on a proof coin, you put everything together, and that's how you come up with an easy $50 bill. A 1973 S complete proof set can be purchased today in the open market for around $6 to $8. Okay, they are mightily inexpensive. So, if you cherry pick them off of, say, eBay, or if you went to a local coin shop, which I love doing, I love cherry picking things like this, then, you could have a really easy time at finding some hidden gems in there. You don't necessarily have to continue to slog through circulating coinage, going to the bank, buying rolls, and then, spending an entire Saturday afternoon going through them and possibly missing out on some other, kind of easier things to look through with more gains. Okay, and that's where proof coin errors come into play. And the cool part is you could cherry pick these right at the coin shop or on eBay and not have to obligate yourself to buy a massive lot of them. Unless you cherry picked them out of a lot of proof coins, you can buy the whole lot and then sell the rest. That's a pretty easy thing to do. And people do it all the time. And, they'll take a singular coin, they'll crack it out of the government holder, and then they'll list it in a way that is easy to understand, as in this listing, and then end up coming away with a $50 bill. So that's the first one. Now, I have 10 coins that I've chosen that have sold within the last 90 days. This is one of them right here. These are all graded. They are all proof coins. It's some unique fare that normally you guys won't see on my Pocket Change Market Report. Now, I will do a report tomorrow morning like clockwork. Okay, so that Saturday morning, early afternoon report will drop tomorrow. And, people like watching those. It gives them inspiration, especially if they haven't found anything lately. People tune in to those PCMRs. just to get some extra perspective on what's out there. And then because of that, they're a little bit more amped. They're more juiced, like I am. I get really excited to even go to the bank and pick up maybe $30, $40 in miscellaneous rolls, especially if you don't have the ability to pick up bank boxes. Very, very little inventory means you still have stuff to search through. But ultimately, okay, picking your battles, choosing content that is going to be easier to kind of flip through at a much faster pace is also important. And that's where proof coinage comes into play. All right, so this is a really nice coin. This one sold December 5th. It says last week sometime. Here's the next one that I have here for you. It's another proof coin. This time it's not graded, okay, much like the nickel that we saw. And this time around, we have a 1978S Lincoln Cent. I believe I probably talked about this particular coin on the PCMR. A few notable things to keep in mind with this particular sale is that it is one that sold October 26th, 8 o'clock in the morning, just about 8:30ish. This one sold for $155.50, and that's with 32 bids. So this is an organic sale of just straight up just bids from people that were really genuinely interested in this coin. Another thing to note is it was sold by actually a well-known error, not only specialist, but dealer as well. Fred Weinberg is the top of the industry. He's one of the most knowledgeable people in the industry for rare error coins, or even some of the most common ones as well. But he had sold this 1978S prisoner cent, is what they call it, because it's got the clashing from the reverse devices of the Lincoln Memorial. So when the dies clash together, this design right here clashed onto the obverse dies, and that's why it was able to produce a rather shallow yet very dramatic clash die scenario that you see here. One of the strongest that I've seen on a proof coin. But again, ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly the prototypical type of coin that, I would probably get questions on. Do I grade this? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Just think, you spend $80, $90 to get this thing graded, and it still sells for $150. You would have lost out $70 in the transaction thereabouts, or that would be just the amount of profit you would have. And there are other intangibles that are involved, including shipping costs, any sort of insurance that you may, have charged just so you could cover your item being sent to PCGS or NGC. So there are other kind of nitpicky type of fees, not to mention eBay fees in there as well. And then in this particular case, Mr. Weinberg offered free shipping on this one. So somehow, some way, he's going to have to come out of pocket a unspecified amount of money to have this thing shipped out. So, but all in all, you guys see how dramatic this one is, and it's on the 78S. Last time I checked, proof coin wise, there's really not a whole heck of a lot going on with, like mid 70s, late 70s proof coins. You might as well find stuff like this and really turn into a hero. $150 all day long. I would certainly take this sale in a heartbeat. All right, so here's the next one that we have here. This one is sold by one of my favorite sellers on here. This is actually another proof nickel. This one is ungraded. I actually clicked onto the listing so we could check out some close-ups here. But this is a 1971S proof Jefferson Nickel. This one is DDR number 28, also known as FS801, and the Cherry Picker's Guide. And this is just a regular run-of-the-mill proof nickel from an otherwise very common date, very common issue here, 1971S. We are beyond the kind of like silver standard era where 40% silver is no longer being produced for circulation. So as you can see, the coin is in pretty nice shape. It features pretty nice glossy, kind of like high mirrored fields. And then pretty strong devices, as you would expect for a proof strike Whoops, man, that was trippy. But let's see if we can find a few areas here. There's some doubling right there. I don't know if you guys can see it on the these window panes. You can see the doubled panes on there. That's pretty dramatic. You can even see some of the doubling on the side of the building. So you see the doubled line right there. That's all part of it. But once you get to the letters, this is where this thing really begins to shine. All of these particular alpha type of devices on the coin, any sort of letters. I don't think there's any numbers on the reverse. There isn't on a nickel. But you could see just the splitting. And the previous image of NTS and cents, you could see the doubling and then some notching on the bottom right of the devices. So that's a very strong double to die. You can even see notching right here on the bottom of the S. You can see the split that goes through this middle part of the S, the body part of it. Here's a couple letters in Monticello. You can see the splits in there as well, a little bit of a notch. Ooh, this one's particularly strong. Look at the foot of the N right here. It looks almost like a triple die reverse. And then here's more of the M in Unum. You can see that as well. So it's got many multiple feet right there. But this one right here, I mean, ungraded, great pictures. You got to be able to take great pictures. This is one of those instances where I'm an advocate for some sort of nice USB microscope. People have actually been buying the ones I have available from my Amazon links down below. There's a really nice Celestron. Just a really good basic model. You're not going to spend hundreds of dollars. But if you're looking to get into something like this, where Jim is actually selling stuff like this really well, you could certainly make a pretty good amount of money. Now, this coin right here, because it's a Cherry Picker's Guide variety, did sell for $162. And then he also charged $3 for shipping in there in the mix. So, a really nice, kind of chase piece to find in these proof sets. And again, another coin that, I would certainly target. And there's a few actually really nice proof doubled dies that can be found out there from the 60s and 70s. And then, there's even a few of them from the 50s as well, but those get pretty pricey for the earlier dates. Here's the next one that we have here. This is actually our first graded coin out of the mix. And this is a 1970s proof Jefferson Nickel. This one exhibits strong clash dies. This one actually graded out proof 68, as you can see from this picture right here. Another great seller, Sullivan Numismatics. John Sullivan is a fantastic error coin dealer. And, this is like right down his wheelhouse. This is the type of stuff that he finds and he grades and then sells. A lot of what he does buy are, a lot of collections. He's, very present at the show circuits. So, some of the bigger shows, you're more than likely going to see Mr. Sullivan walking around or at a booth. So, one of the premier dealers. But again, this just goes to show you that these type of things exist in proof sets, where otherwise the main point to drive home is that proof sets are supposed to be perfect. But that's kind of like the big wide gap of difference of opinion between the perception that proof coins brings to the general collecting public and the overall secondary market perspective on it. Okay, and then when you have these two kind of like directly across from each other, you expect to see some pretty big fireworks in the bidding on these things. Now, this one sold for $210, and the argument can be made, is this something that you need to grade? I would say no. You probably don't need to grade something like this, if and only if you could really hit a home run in the imaging department. So if you could take really fantastic pictures of a coin like this, you probably don't need to grade it. Now, there's going to be also some debate. Will I get $210 for something like this raw? You might end up getting $100 or $150. At that point in time, you really have to kind of decide if whether or not grading is equitable for a situation like this where you are going to sell it. And, if the coin's going to be already $100 to $150, is it even worth it? Now, in this particular case for Mr. Sullivan, this is not an organic bidded item. This is one that it's a buy it now, you see it, $210, boom, add it to your cart, check out, and then you own it. You don't have to worry about, cross bidding from someone else or engaging in some sort of bidding war to own this coin. You see it, you want it, you enjoy the look of it, you go ahead and add it to your cart and check out. All right, so that's a 70S. Again, a very plentiful non-key proof set that can be had out there. Keep in mind there is a 40% silver candy half dollar in the 70S proof sets. The next one that we have here is going to be a 72S. This is a Jefferson Nickel. This one is mighty fine, man. This is a PCGS Proof 65D Cameo, 180 degree rotated die reverse on this one. Because normally when you flip the coin over on its left-right axis and you flip it over, okay, it's supposed to be right side up. But in this case, it's still upside down, as you can see here. On the slab label, there you go, it says 180 degree rotated dies, which is quite nice. This is actually a known eBay seller of coinage, and this one sold for $430. Now, in this particular case, this is another coin that you could probably sell without the aid of any sort of grading. So if you're able, again, to really peg down those photography images to illustrate 180 degree rotated dies, some people like to use a mirror for instances like this, you could sell this one for a boatload of money. You could probably even get close to this dollar figure here, raw. And that's no joke. You throw it up there as a regular, regular 7-day listing where people are allowed to bid on it. And at the end of the 7 days, you could probably look at this coin and see a realized sale of between $250 and $400. Yeah, that's kind of a wide range, but given this market that we're in right now, there's a lot of volatility for coins like this. So depending on the time of day that it ends at, how many people have seen it. So if you put this on for like a 1 or 3 day listing, you're really cutting your chances and your opportunity to sell this at the maximum amount of money. But this is just a stunner. Again, check out those proof sets, because these coins that are being discovered are absolute dimes and gems in there. And again, you're really not investing a lot of money. You see this in a proof set, a 72S proof set, no doubt, and you could come away with a very expensive coin for under $10 because you have to buy the whole set. And there are a lot of dealers that just don't give a care about these type of errors. They don't, they'll look for the no estimate mark, coins like the 68 no S dime and the 1990 no S penny, things like that. But stuff like this generally overlooked. So that's the 72S. The next one that we have here, this one's pretty neat as well. This is a 1995 Lincoln Memorial Cent. This is not a proof. This is a general business strike example. It's a copper-coated zinc. This one is an NGC, Mint State 63 red. This one is double struck. So as you can see, pretty wild appearance there. So the second strike is roughly about 40% off center to the main strike. But there you go. Just an overall really dynamic, very eye-appealing, very catchy-looking coin. This is a coin that, would stick out like a sore thumb if you came across it. And, I did a video a few days ago regarding finding some major errors and where to find them at. Obviously, the sealed bank bags that still exist out there for big premiums. That's where stuff like this comes out of, is those bank bags. But there you go, NGC certified. Second strike is 30% off center on this one. And Mint State 63 red is not a grade that I would be personally proud of. That's a type of grade where the coin at one point circulated probably for about a week. And, when you have a really brand new penny in your pocket, even though you haven't really touched it, you just kind of had it in a bunch of change and you throw in your pocket with other change, and they're all like banging into each other, causing little bag marks and nicks. that's the kind of thing that would, earn a grade like a Mid-State 63 red. Because normally, coins right out of the chute will probably grade around 64, 65. But this is a beautiful coin, 30 bids, $435. Another top tier seller, Zano, I've seen him around these parts. So yeah, he's got some good stuff. But that's the 95 Lincoln. We have another one right here. This time we have one of those pesky missing mint mark proof dimes. This is a 1970 rare, no S proof set, less than 2,500 known. That's just an estimate. And this person sold the entire set, complete with all the coins on there. So it's got the Lincoln, the Jefferson, the dime, which is the main focal coin in here, but all the other coins, the quarter and the 40% silver half, all the other coins have a physical S mint mark, except for the dime. That got inadvertently left off the working dies, or maybe the master hub or the master die in this particular case, or master hub. Yeah, that's what it is. But yeah, this was a sale of the entire proof set that says no S9. And again, this is another particular example, a case study in which you don't need to grade stuff like this, because the error speaks for itself. And I think part of the big selling point with this set, ladies and gentlemen, is that the entire proof set was sold with this 1970 no S dime just apparently sitting right there in the encasement. So that helps its cause tremendously. $658, 3 bids, 1 and done. Beautiful coin. Here's another one right here too. This one is a 1983 no S Roosevelt Dime. So this is another notorious Roosevelt Dime missing mint mark example, sold in the original government packaging. You can see the dime clearly missing the mint mark, while the other 4 coins have their respective mint mark on there. This is a date that not a lot of people know about, the 83S, but here it is in plain view. There it is. There's the dime with the missing S mint mark. Again, more likely inadvertently left off the either the working dies or the master hub at this point. But as you can see, the original offer was $750. According to 130 Point, this was sold for $595, which is a rather solid sale. The 83S no S dime is one of the more common missing mint mark coins. The other one would be the Business Strike 1982 no P dime. That is the most common, and in lower grades, they still sell for a $100 bill. Beautiful coin, another one that you can look out for and not really have to grade. This one speaks volumes as a standalone. What we have here is a 77S. This is also another proof, but take a look at this one. This one will probably get overlooked a few times. I'm sure it did at one point, but this is a 77S, 5-cent nickel, struck on a clad 10-cent planchet. This one grades out PCGS, proof 68 cameo. I'd say, because I haven't talked about stats yet. Okay, I would say about 98% of all coins out there does not need to be graded. There's going to be that scant 2% few that are certainly worth and warranted for grading. This is one of them right here. See the coin? It is a lot smaller than your traditional Jefferson Nickel would be. And it shows on the slab, struck on clad 10-cent planchet. This is going to be a much better sell graded rather than selling the coin raw. And the big reason why is some people are under the impression that you could counterfeit something like this by taking a regular nickel and then filing it down so it's to this size, which I've heard before, but I haven't seen it cleanly executed. But as far as the marketability of this coin, it's way better to sell it graded. This is actually a huge power play that probably swung this listing from selling for only maybe a couple $100 to $932. And by the way, this is with 24 bids. and sold by error connoisseur Fred Weinberg. Of course, he sold a ton of stuff based off of his feedback rating. But this was a recent sale as well, November 30th. But yeah, just again, another coin that if you looked in a government packaged proof set, this would be something that probably a lot of people would overlook. All right, just based off of the construction of those original government holders, stuff like this can be hidden because of the edge of each one of the coin capsules in those government holders will hide size tolerances, much like this. This coin is, again, a lot smaller than your traditional nickel. But it's a 77S. I mean, those are, the type of prototypical dates of proof sets that most people really don't care a lot about. But, this is another case where, we've seen this coin. We saw that 78S Lincoln Cent Clash. That's not nothing. I mean, it sold for $150. It's a pretty big deal. And then finally, the last one I just wanted to talk about, just for talking about, is I think we just witnessed the high mark for the 2004 D Wisconsin extra high and low leaf pattern coins or variety coins or whatever. I don't know. Some people say it's an error. Some say it's a variety. It is in the Cherry Picker's Guide, and more than likely that this was something that was done intentionally as a kind of like a modern type of circulation rarity. These were all released in the southern U.S., most specifically Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. But we have both variants here, graded NGC Mid-State 66, and keep in mind, these graders do designate moderns with proof-like designations. So each one of these graded the same with PL, and we have the extra high leaf. You can see that engraved there on one of the corn leaves. And then you have the low leaf here on the right side, which has the lower leaf engraved below one of the main corn cob leaves there. But this one right here, original ask was $2,500. Based off of 130 point, this lot right here sold for $2,200, which I believe breaks records for the respective varieties graded. I don't think a singular coin has sold for $1,100. Now, I might be wrong. There might be like some insane Mid-State 67 or something out there of either one of these varieties. Of course, the high leaf is the more coveted, a little bit more scarce than the low leaf, but you guys get the big picture. These are, auto includes into cherry picking. These sell really well raw. So if you did come across one and it's quite beat up, don't even bother grading it. Just go ahead and sell it as is. I've seen a lot of circulated examples of this coin sell for between $50 and $75. Again, that's a really, really generous amount of money for these coins circulated. But I just wanted to kind of quickly talk about this 2-coin set right here that kind of, I believe, broke a record for each of these varieties respectively. But this is just a beautiful 2-coin set. Again, when you have coins that you believe are in this high of grade and condition, these are probably worth sending out to either PCGS or NGC. NGC is a little bit more liberal in assigning things like PL on these newer moderns, whereas PCGS just started dipping their toes into PL designation for modern coins. And I've only seen, a small handful of coins graded by PCGS with that PL designation. Most recently, the the 2019 West Point Lincolns, the uncirculated one that came with the mid sets. Those have been coming up PCGS PLs. I believe in, in Mid-State 69 or 68 or something like that. I've seen PL versions of those. But those are the coins that I want to talk about. A little bit of diversity there with some graded coins and proofs. Two of the most seldom talked about types of errors to sell, obviously, especially on my channel, since I have a huge emphasis on raw coins, because I'm an advocate for turning and flipping and then, banking on some of those coin sales without having to, necessarily go out of the way to send them to a grader, spend a boatload of money as you would expect for an error attribution. And furthermore, the amount of time that it takes for the coins to come back to you is long. Okay, it's going to take probably in some instances 60 days, 90 days. Really depends on how backed up their queue is. And if it's like any other grading service for any other collectible, I'm pretty sure they have their delays as well. But that's what I wanted to talk about today. Sorry the video took so long, but there's a lot of great things that we all learned here today. Number one, you don't have to grade everything that you see. It's like the sexiest topic today is grade everything because they'll all be worth more money than, what they are raw. That's not the truth. And especially in today's world, the most recent past, where, grading isn't necessarily that important. Okay. And then sometimes it's more of a detriment if you're trying to sell it. Just go ahead and sell it raw. Okay. Whatever it may be. But that's going to go ahead and do it. I'm your host, Sean, with BlueRidgeSilverhound. It was a pleasure talking with you guys this morning about this. And, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my videos. And I know the dislike button's not there anymore, but if you really don't care for me or my videos, you can certainly hit the dislike button. I still see the metrics on the back end. Don't know why YouTube did that. I know why they did it. I just felt like it wasn't that important. But anyways, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Sean with BlueRidgeSilverhound. You guys have a wonderful Friday, and I will see you on the next coin video. So long.